Indonesian President Joko Widodo earlier launched the service, also known as Wush. It can ferry up to 600 passengers at a top speed of 350 kilometers per hour. Free trial rides on the bullet train are underway. Ticket prices will be implemented in mid-October. Now, the launch has been far behind an original target of operations in 2019 due to construction issues and pandemic-related delays. The railway is a culmination of Indonesia's infrastructure boom as Mr. Widodo builds out roads, ports and airports with the aim to propel the country's development. Foreign experts let's speak with Achmad Sukarsono. He is Associate Director of Global Risks Analysis Asia Pacific at Control Risks. Mr. Achmad, welcome to the program. Now, this is Indonesia's first high-speed train, but it is involving major repayments, interest and maintenance costs. Can the $7 billion project be profitable for the country?
I will answer that question with a question. Who are the main targets of any short-distance bullet train? Is it local tourists and families over the weekend, or weekday middle-class commuters and business executives who need to do a day visit to prevent them staying overnight in a different city? I think the answer from experience in Japan is the latter. So the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed rail is comparable to the Shinkansen between Osaka and Nagoya, between two industrial populous cities located less than 200 kilometers away. Without this railway, travelers might have to incur hotel costs. Thus, we need to see pricing and profitability from their lens, from the lens of the priority users. And I do think the pricing will go up, not as low as now, eventually reaching the ability of the prioritized users after this current hype. Now, this current hype is really infecting tourists and families. You see a lot of them really lining up and trying this new fad, but this will go away very soon, and we will go back to the main users. These are the commuters. And after that is over, we will see a rise in prices, and we will have a comparison to the toll road. So price starts low at the toll road to get customers. And when they know the benefit from an overall cost point of view, these users, the ones that really need the solution, will continue to use it despite the subsequent price inclines. So if the government or the company behind this railway can really net these priority users, they can achieve profitability. If they cannot, I don't think they will reach their goal. And the problem then with the Jakarta-Bandung HSR is not pricing. It's the location of the 4 stations.
Yeah, and you were talking about location there. We understand that passengers heading to downtown Bandung, they will still need to take a feeder train, and that's a further 20 minutes in time and about $3 extra in cost. So are locals convinced that, this high-speed line is their go-to mode of transport from now on?
Commuters, real commuters, the people that will use this transport mode daily are not that convinced. Why? Because none of these 4 stations are located in commercial areas that are easily accessible by these priority users. Like you said, the 2 ends, Jakarta and Bandung, are far away from the downtown of both cities. It will take an hour, not even 20 minutes. It will take an hour to get to these stations for most travelers if they want to begin their travel from their offices or homes. Now, the 2 stations between Jakarta and Bandung, Karawang and Padalarang, are also poorly located. The first stop after Jakarta, which should cater for the industrial hub of Karawang, is also far from downtown, and transport options to reach that station are quite scant. Now, the last stop before Bandung, Padalarang, is close to tourist attractions and gated communities, but quite far from homes and offices of business executives or employees who benefit from this fast train ride. So if Indonesia fails to build convenient connections between these stations, like the feeder project, which is not actually in existence at the moment, the main users of the HSR will continue to drive to Bandung or use mini shuttle buses, which is the preferred option. Because although they will spend more time on the main leg, it is still more convenient for those who live and work in the core of Jakarta and Bandung. Thus, my worry is this project won't be profitable enough, regardless of pricing, because it cannot entice the regular beneficiaries of an HSR, these weekday commuters,
Yeah, Mr.
and
Ahmad.
only end up being a weekend option for Jakarta residents.
Yeah, I also want to talk about the partnership between China and Indonesia. President Widodo has chosen China over Japan for this project, and there are also talks of extending the high-speed line to Surabaya with stops to Jogja and Semarang, again, most likely tapping on Beijing instead of Tokyo. How should China's competitors who have been trying to woo Indonesia's investments or partnerships read into this?
Indonesia chose China over Japan because of one particular aspect. China did not require state guarantee, Japan did. So China gave a more attractive option. So this actually answers the question, because Indonesia is sliding towards Chinese investment, but it is not entirely dependent on China. Why is Indonesia welcoming Chinese investment? Because China delivers when others do not. But at the same time, there are healthy checks within Indonesia to avoid falling into overdependence or having the economy being dominated by a country. Social movements occur often in Indonesia to respond towards these Chinese investment that are not convenient for the local community. And the last one occurred just a boat ride away from Singapore in Batam. So as long as there are checks and balances by public groups, I think the Indonesian government will be alerted to stay away from any kind of debt trap or overdependence on a country.
Yeah, and this high-speed rail, it has been a priority for President Widodo, right? He's been looking to attract infrastructure investment deals such as, the SkyTrain and a subway since coming to office. And then, of course, there's the new capital city, Nusantara. How would you describe the legacy that Mr. Jokowi is leaving behind as a leader when his term expires next year in February?
I mean, we cannot deny that Jokowi has built more roads, more airports, more infrastructure than any other Indonesian president. The problem now is whether his replacement can continue the programs and his policies. And that will be decided by the election next year. And that is why Jokowi is quite active in trying to, let's just say, shaping the election through a lot of backroom deals. Now, one example of this is actually the high-speed rail. It still needs development. It needs to be developed so that these stations are attractive for users. And I heard that the plan is to develop these stations into commercial centers, into economic hubs, just like in China and in Japan. But this is a great plan that needs thorough execution. And that execution should be done by the next president. And Jokowi is very hopeful that the next president, his replacement, can actually take on this challenge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Achmad, we appreciate your insights. Thank you so much for that. We were speaking there with Achmad Sukarsono. He's Associate Director at Control Risks.